Hello, welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 212. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With this week is Isley
Yo,
and Messiah.
she did.
Hello. God, freaking
There's
Discord.
that happened last week where Zaya said hello, but I guess the hello was a little too high and Discord didn't pick it up at all. It was less nah.
Elgato picks it up. It's just Discord.
Yeah,
I
Discord's
thought you were a
got it.
smoker now. Hello.
Oh, I just woke up.
Yeah, whenever Zaya types in chat, I'm alive.
It
Usually means
means I
just
literally just woke up and turned on the
yeah.
computer.
Rolled out of bed.
Yep. Yeah. So we're going to start with the main thing that happened this week. Microsoft had a pretty massive layoff, about 4% of their overall workforce. So not about 9,000 people were impacted across Microsoft, and Xbox's gaming division was a pretty big portion of that impact. And there was an email or a letter that got sent out by Phil Spencer to everybody at Microsoft, but no one was immediately told who was impacted. And I wish I can remember what article it was, but there was one company where everyone's Slack account got frozen, regardless of if they were fired or not. It just got frozen. It's like no one could communicate and figure out what was going on. Yeah, because typically that's how people end up finding out. It's internal messages and whatnot, communications before people get officially told, what have you. But yeah, a ton of people got laid off, and a lot of big projects got canceled. One of the big ones being Perfect Dark is done, and the initiative is just closed. They shut them down,
It's so
which
insane.
yeah, it's they just showed this last year.
It feels very much like they're just completely moving away from being a games provider and just going to be a software provider with the targeted layoffs they did and who actually was let go. It was so strange because Perfect Dark was one of the things that I think people were looking forward to most on Xbox. It's one of the few IPs they own that people are actually excited about.
Right, and it was it could be, especially because it was, Xbox went on a whole tear where they were just buying everybody, that's our strategy. We're just going to buy, buy, buy. But with the initiative, it was the first instance of them being instead of just buying, we're going to build. We're actually going to make something instead of just using cash. I've used cash to build the studio, but it was that's what people want to see. They want to see just make something new. Don't just do acquisition because people aren't consolidation in the industry is not a good thing. I mean, look at they talk about the Activision Blizzard bit. They're like, oh, we're worried that they might just shut a bunch of stuff down. And then like, no, we won't. And it's like, look what you're doing now. But because you spent so much money. Yeah, it's crazy. Now I know they had some issues where some staff, because there were some people at, I believe, Insomniac who went there back in the day. And then they left there and went back to Insomniac. And there were a couple other, higher up folks that also had left. And then Crystal Dynamics came in to help co-develop. And so people were wondering oh, what's going on there? That's kind of interesting. So I mean, it's been the dev time's been a long time. It's been 5+ years. I think it was 2018 that they founded that studio. So it's been a while. And maybe the development's been rough on the back end because of those people going in and out and what have you. But because you showed it, it's weird.
I mean, they showed it. It's a big IP, and it just feels strange that it was a huge quantity of staff, and then it was the accompanying message. I know you posted it in Discord, but it was the message that was we know we've had a standout stellar year with a ton of games coming, but we're laying you off. It was such a tonal mismatch between what they're what Microsoft is claiming their position is in the in the industry, and also where they're at in the economy, and then the following email of but we're still laying you off.
Yeah, the message from Phil Spencer said, today we are sharing decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization to position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas. We will end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Out of respect for those impacted today, the specifics of today's notifications and my organizational shifts will be shared by your team leaders in the coming days. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger. The success we're seeing currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously. We must make choices now for continued success in future years, and a key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities.
And I think for me, it was the tonal mismatch of when he says, more player hours, more players, and strong lineups for the future.
Yeah.
But then he pivots and says, "But our future, we have to make these changes for our future." So it's like, okay, so you don't actually like. Do you feel good about the future? Or do you not actually feel good about the future because you've just laid off 9,000 staff after sending out a message that honestly sounds like you feel confident about the company's position?
Yeah, and I hate the fact it goes, "Oh, we're doing really well, and the only reason we're doing really well is because we had massive layoffs previously, which allowed us to do so. So
Yeah,
in
I was
order to
gonna say,
continue
like,
doing
that's
well,
pretty
you're
scummy line.
sacrificed." Yeah, it's like, you gotta sacrifice your spot so we can continue to do well with stuff that we think is more important than what you're working on. But it just
Which is the stuff that people like that he's claiming is the reason the company's doing well. So like laying off the people that are making strong IPs and new games, and then similarly touting how you have a strong lineup in the future is like, well, do you or do you not?
yeah, what's crazy is, like, I can understand, like, part of the bit is, because I've gotta find the update from Matt Booty here. Let me see if I can find, where it was that if hopefully I saved it, maybe oh, it was the update here. So following Phil's remarks, Matt Booty, also said, he sent out to Xbox, or who did he send it to? Whatever, he sent out the following note, he said.
Before you read this,
Mhm.
was that, and this is maybe going to cloud like other people listening, was that message satire or serious that you posted from Matt Booty?
Well, that one wasn't from Matt Booty that I posted in chat. That was, like, one of the AI people at Microsoft.
Oh, okay. The one you posted in chat, I was like, I can't tell if this is satire or serious. This is
No,
like, what the
that's
fuck?
like r slash LinkedIn lunatics nonsense, where it's like it was one of the AI people, like, wasn't even Xbox Games, it was just someone AI. And I've heard, like, and what's crazy is, like, people believe that what they're saying, because we were having a conversation at my job about how to integrate Copilot, and if you're going to use it, like, the ways you should use it and you shouldn't use it. And then, like, someone in the group, because it was like a big company meeting, was like, "Oh, sometimes I've used it on ways to figure out how to properly get across the message to either a manager or an employee." And I'm like, "You're really using AI to tell you, like, how to word something, like, to word salad it?" I
Use
How
was
to
like,
your
manage?
brain.
yeah, it's just like it's so, like, yeah, it was annoying. And that's, like, what that message that I was saying, this is the one I sent in Discord, is from Matt Turnbull, who's he's the producer there, executive producer there of Xbox Game Publishing. But yeah, he talks about, he says, "These are really challenging times, and if you're navigating a layoff or even quietly preparing for one, you're not alone, and you don't have to be alone. I know these types of tools engender strong feelings in people, but I'd be remiss in not trying to offer the best advice I can in the circumstances. I've been experimenting with ways to use LLM AI tools like ChatGPT or Copilot to help reduce the emotional and cognitive load that comes with job loss. Here are some prompt ideas in case it could be helpful, and if you're feeling overwhelmed." And it's like just a bunch of command, like, career
I
planning prompts.
honestly thought that
He
was
made that post
satire.
with AI.
I thought
Yeah,
it was like an Onion post of like, here are some AI tips in case you got laid off and were just replaced by AI. Like, genuinely thought that was a satirical comment or
now,
article. It was so bullshit.
yeah, it was, and he got rid of it quick, like, after posting it. And so that, like, this is just a screenshot that someone took in order for them to post on socials. Like, they quickly took it down. And, like, I get part of what, like, the small percentage of what he's trying to say. Like, when you're overwhelmed, like, it's like if you had a friend or family member help you, like, "I need to update my resume, but I'm too distressed over the fact I might lose my job." And then it's like your sister or your spouse or your significant other's just like, "Here, I'll take care of that. I'll do that for you." And, like, there could be, like, because he talks about, like, resume and LinkedIn help, and it's like, "Hey, here's my old resume. Could you update it with my current stuff?" Like, that kind of thing. He's like, but usually you'd use that kind of support from, like, friends or family. But everything else about it just is like, yeah, so weird, especially when he talks about using their own AI stuff, which is one of the reasons why people think the 9,000 folks got fired, is so they can kind of Microsoft as a whole could focus more towards AI as well. So it's just, like, really bad decision making to make that post.
Sorry, I
But
distracted from your Matt Booty comment too.
no, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I was gonna leave that out, the one guy, because I got deleted, but it was good to bring it in. But yeah, Matt Booty said, following Phil's note, "I want to share more about the changes to the studio business units. We have made the decision to stop development of Perfect Dark." And oh, that's right. And Everwild was the game from, I think, what, ZeniMax was doing that one, as well as wind down several unannounced projects across the portfolio. As part of this, we're closing one of our studios, the initiative. These decisions, along with the other changes across our teams, reflect a broader effort to adjust priorities and focus resources to set up our teams for greater success within a changing industry landscape. And he has, like, a bunch more in there, but it's just like, it's so weird that you would. I understand sunsetting projects that are unannounced, like that makes total sense because there could be a lot of things behind the scenes we don't know. Like when Santa Monica canceled their game and they had to rush to get God of War 2018 out. And it's like I get why you get rid of stuff, but some things I'm like, so like Project Blackbird's like okay, I guess, but like the initiative, like you were pretty far along. Everwild was rare. Sorry, Project Blackbird is the ZeniMax online MMORPG that they were working on. And then also Romero Games stated that their FPS has been canceled, but I don't know if that's directly related to this. Like if they were being funded by Microsoft, like there's no like he I guess alluded to it. Either Brenda Romero did, or John himself. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm like, okay, I guess that was also impacted. And then like the Forza team, the one that does, ooh, is it? I think there's two Forza games. It must be Motorsport, the more sim one. I think like they were impacted as well. But yeah, it's just like a lot of stuff. Let's see, unknown number of people from the Halo Studios, Raven Software, unknown number of cuts there as well. High Moon, who also works in Call of Duty, Sledgehammer got impacted. Um, Obviously Blizzard King, who does Candy Crush, like 10%, 200 people there got affected. Oh yeah, it was 50% of Turn 10 who does Forza that got impacted, which is insane because like those games do really well. Like I'm 50% is crazy, and it's always so weird to me. Like when they get rid
Wait, they
of
laid off 50% of them?
yeah
Wow,
of the
that's
Forza
a
team.
shockingly high number for what is maybe Xbox's or Microsoft's most famous franchise. I'm debating
Yeah.
between whether it's like Forza or Halo, but like I kind of feel like it might be Forza as their most famous franchise.
It must be because I guess like Forza Motorsport and then there's like Forza Horizon, I think is the other one. The more the like not I don't want to say like Motorstorm kind of like game, but like the more arcadey racer, I guess. And I think that one's become more popular than the other one. Like the other one's kind of like their answer to, Gran Turismo. And I think maybe that one's not doing as well as the one. I think the other one has started to be like the more popular of the two series, perhaps behind the scenes, and maybe that's why they did that layoff there. But yeah, just massive layoffs across the board. It's I'm trying to see if there's anything else that wasn't in this. The Perfect Dark one just is so crazy to me though. And then like the studio head of like veteran studio heads of at ZeniMax like step down because of the online thing. Like they just leave. Like the Banjo Kazooie and Sea of Thieves director Greg Mails, like he left following the cancellation of Everwild. Like they just lose people. Like people leave. They go, okay, well I'm out. Like I'm I'm done. If like they're gonna just cancel these games, then I'm leaving. Like it's got to be so just lack
It's
of job
so
security.
it's completely demoralizing too because you fire half of a studio. Well, the other half of the studio is like, well, we're next. Like, we might as well just go. And you canceled a project that we were actively working on and passionate about just out of nowhere. I saw, I don't remember what article I was reading, but I tried not to save any articles because it was depressing. But they were talking about, like, I guess recently, like a few months ago or something like that, they were like, oh, well, Perfect Dark was kind of in rough shape and maybe it was having like development issues and stuff like that. But I mean, the game wasn't out yet. It wasn't close to coming out. Fix it. It's not like I don't know. It was just crazy to me that somebody somewhere was trying to justify it. Like, but also that's not a reason to fire everybody and close the studio. Just cancel the project and work on something else.
Yeah, it's I guess like I'm curious. Like it must have been like a money thing because it was so long ago. On top of the how much they spent on Activision, and like if they're not seeing like I feel like so much of this comes down to Game Pass as well. Like I don't think Game Pass is doing what they need it to do to keep everybody afloat. Like there can't be enough revenue to pay the people that are making the games that are on Game Pass, to secure the third-party games that are going onto Game Pass, and to fund new studios like the Initiative, or to fund your procurement of, Activision Blizzard or everybody
Mhm.
else to make up for that. Like I just don't see it. Like oh, we spent 69, million or whatever. It's like, are you making that money in Game Pass? Like it's like unless it's canceling it out, like I just don't get it. And like but I feel like if their games are also being purchased, like just straight up at the end of Game Pass, like I feel like okay, well, if that was the reality, then they wouldn't have acquired quite as many studios, perhaps, because the only reason they acquired them was to get them on Game Pass. Now they could have, I guess, made them exclusive. But I feel like maybe, like, who knows what that reality would look like? Like, would they have less closures because people have to actually pay full price for the games now? But maybe those games don't sell as much as the amount of people that play them on Game Pass. Like,
I mean, we've talked about it before, and like I do feel like the Game Pass structure just doesn't work well for AAA games. I think it actually like the way it kind of started with being indie games worked really well because it brought exposure to indie games that you probably wouldn't have played otherwise. But this evolution into like Game Pass being where you get all of your AAA games and can get all of them in like a month for paying $10. Yeah, there's no way in hell it's going to pay enough to actually keep AAA studios open. Like
Mm.
it's not feasible.
yeah, it's crazy. Like and yeah, like you said, the indie stuff, and maybe that's what it maybe just keep Xbox Gold and like all that stuff what it was, and just be like, okay, just like with PlayStation Plus, like put the indie games, pay a little money to get those on the PlayStation Plus tier or PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium, like have those tiers. Maybe don't do day and date with your big AAA titles and stuff like that. Like I don't know. Now I think it's because I mean, but you publish on everything. Like if they're only publishing on Xbox and the Xbox install base isn't that big, as far as Xbox One and Series consoles, like you're also doing it on PC. So you have Game Pass on PC,
But
but it's just like
I
you
mean, I don't
gotta.
think it's a matter
I
of
don't know.
like publishing or something. It's more of like how many people play a game versus or like purchase a game that keeps a studio afloat versus how much does Game Pass pay for someone
Hmm.
to have the subscription. And I like it's got to be a simple calculation of like, oh, Game Pass is only bringing
It
in X
yeah
millions of dollars or hundreds of millions. So like we can only keep three studios afloat with this, but then as you close studios, you lose games on Game Pass. Like it's kind
yeah
of a cyclical thing that just doesn't work well if the cost of making the game is high. It only works well if the cost of making the game is low.
yeah. Game Pass should have been a thing that were like after 6 months maybe. That way you have the people who don't mind waiting. They can wait 6 months to have to play the first party games on Game Pass or something. Kind of like the timed exclusivity windows we see when like a game releases on
Yeah.
one console
Yeah,
versus the other.
the release day stuff for like AAA games on Game Pass is wild because it's just like there are a lot I would say that a lot of games I track and watch from like shows, but there's still a good portion of games where I buy it after like seeing advertising on Twitch or something, or like really get into it. And sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get a demo, but like ultimately I probably spend more money on games due to like watching influencers and advertising and streamers. But if I had Game Pass, I wouldn't. I would avoid those costs and try it out on like Game Pass or something. And I just can't imagine that that number offsets the lost sales from people for a big
Yeah.
studio.
It's crazy that like that mentality of oh it's a Game Pass game is like born because of Game Pass. Like people have the mentality, but it only exists because of the product that you created, and it's hard to imagine like what would it because when Game Pass first came out it was like this is brilliant, like this is actually a really good. It was super consumer friendly, but as they kept adding more and more of their stuff to it, I'm like, but there's no way this is sustainable,
But
and
when it first came out, if I recall, like it had caveats. Like you didn't get Call of Duty on
well,
launch day on Game Pass.
that's because it
Or
wasn't
maybe
that back then. Call of Duty wasn't under Microsoft, so it was
right.
only their
But
stuff,
that's my
but it
point.
wasn't like a
Like
lot.
so like when Game Pass came out, it didn't have as broad of scope. People still liked it.
Mhm.
It was still a popular thing. But then in order to get more
Right.
subscribers, they added more features to it that cannibalize like the actual lifeline of games. So
Well, yeah,
unless
that's
you could really cheaply make games, which I'm sure is what they're trying to do with AI, is like crank out cheap games with AI to put on Game Pass.
well, that's why they did all the acquisitions because they're like, oh, if we can acquire, not only do we get the talent to make future stuff, but we can put all their stuff on Game Pass, which could push to increase the Game Pass subscriptions. Like that was their stuff. Like we need the content. Like we have a great tool, we need content to do it. But it's like then you end up setting this expectation and now you're stuck in this system that you created where you can't like that's why they have those the lower tiers where it's like oh if you want the day one you have to have like the top premium tier and they have kept having the increased pricing change tiers and whatnot towards like oh you can't get them immediately on the lower ones the big titles unless you pay more so it's like you dug yourself in this position where I'm like yeah I don't see it being like because the way they do like games that go on like PlayStation Plus or Xbox games with gold, like back in the day, it'd be like they talk to an indie dev who's like strictly just indie games, not AAA games, but like indie games or let's say like B games or double B's whatnot, where it's like you kind of estimate this is how much we think we will sell on your platform, and then they do kind of some analysis. How's the market reacting to this genre, yada yada, who the studio is, who they're made up, and they do a projection of we think it'll gross this much, and then Sony or Microsoft will hit them with, okay, we'll give you X amount, which would cover that projection, which is, and then if they get under that as far as player base, they made the money that they originally projected. If they do more, they don't get more money unless they have that part in their deal. They just get whatever they give them, which is, famously the Rocket League situation where they gave them what they didn't think it was going to do well. So Sony gave them, the initial amount they agreed on, but then it exploded. And like, damn, we wish we had changed the terms of that game. But it's like, yeah. So
But
it's like,
you could also make the argument that it only exploded because it was free.
exactly. And that's what they said, because you can listen to that. There's an interview with oh my God, I'm blanking on his name, but he used to be part of Podcast Beyond way back in the day, where that was kind of that's the, don't worry about the vase situation, where it's like it exploded because it was there, but they kind of wish they could have made changes like, oh, if it does exponentially better, it's like taking a percentage of a movie as an actor versus like, just a flat salary or something. It's like, oh, I wish I took the percentage in hindsight and yada yada. But it's like that makes sense for indie stuff. But like AAA things, I'm like, from your own studios, I'm like, that's gotta be rough. It's like I don't know. Who knows, man? Well, it's a lot. Like it seemed like this year. I guess January. Did we have a lot in January? I feel like we started this year with some pretty big layoffs too, right? Because I think that was the conversation. I'd have to go back and look at it at our.
I'll be honest,
podcast
I feel
episodes.
like we're talking about gaming layoffs every 2 to 3 months.
I feel like it's been a while since we've had big ones. I think in January we might have seen some big ones potentially, but again, I'll have to go back and it's all such a blur because of how common they were. Like, because there was that big Q4 one, and then it's like, okay, hopefully there's gonna be none in Q1. It's like, well, it's fiscal Q4, so there's probably gonna be some.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's my point, is like they're so common that it's actually hard to kind of track which ones we're talking about. It's like such a part of the gaming culture and industry to just like hire up for projects and then do massive layoffs, and then people are kind of screwed.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just nuts, man. Like I get canceling projects that are unannounced or have been worked on that maybe, you gotta say sometimes you gotta make that decision. If it's not coming together, I get it. But like just so many across the board, and then especially from teams who are doing well. And that I think that's the conversation everyone's having is like it doesn't matter if your studio is doing well. It's like that's not good enough for Microsoft and for some other place, but mainly Microsoft, it feels like. It's just yeah, it's rough. And like I don't know, especially for a company like Once Games, like you just
Yeah.
got rid of a
I
bunch
mean,
of
it's
titles.
rough and unfortunate, and it's unfortunately like just seems to be part of how it is with games. Man, it would drive me nuts. I couldn't do it.
I can't imagine, and we talked about this plenty of times, but I can't imagine being a creative and working on something that never sees the light of day. Like
And it's
be
not
it
even
like
for like 1 or 2 years, but like you could be working on this for like 5 or 6 years, and then it gets
Mhm.
canned and it never sees the light of day, and then you get laid off. It's like, what the fuck do you put on your resume? I worked on secret project for 6 years. It was going to be
Yeah,
great. Like,
and you're
what do you do?
NDA'd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's not
that
even like
sucks.
your decision. Like
Mhm.
you could be a creative, like working on something and be like, well, I'm just gonna back burner it. I probably am not gonna release it. This was just for fun. This was just for practice or something like that. It's like, no, you're putting everything you have into a project thinking that it's going to be out in the world and people are going to be experiencing it and playing it, and then some
Or
person you've never even heard of is like, now we're gonna cancel it and can it's like, you don't even work here. What do you mean?
Mhm.
well, what's worse, that or you release a successful game and then you get fired anyways or laid off anyways? Like
That's the
both
thing. It's like
those are
you're
both
not
horrible
safe.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I would still want my thing to see. You got to have some passion. I mean, I'm sure there are people that work in the industry who are like, it is just a job that they're proficient in, so they just do it. But I feel like anytime you're creating something, like there's got to be passion there for everybody to some degree. So it's like I feel like I would like the Concord folks, like they must. I'm sure some of them like are glad their product at least got, and obviously it got redacted and then taken off the shelf.
Mhm.
But like at least people got to see what they're working on, and they got to see something. Like I'd be curious versus if it was like if no one saw it. Like, because they're screenwriters, they write scripts and they just get put in a vault. But you assume people must be looking at them to see like, hey, do I want to work on this? Nah, I'll do something else. But it's like, yeah, okay, I'll do a bunch of paintings and no one ever. I guess there's people who do paint for themselves and not necessarily to post online. But like a cosplay artist out there who never shares anything on socials, they just do it
Mhm.
because they like to build stuff, but they never wear it to cons. They just like I like building. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I don't, and there's like rumors like, oh, is Phil gonna step down? I'm like, well, it seems like this came from Microsoft proper, not from Xbox. Like they're like, hey, we got to reorg. Here's all our verticals at Microsoft that are impacted. Phil, go lay these folks off. Or like maybe it's like, hey, do some fiscal analysis on which ones you think would have
Is
the most reward for canceling and the least impact to what could potentially be released or something. I don't know.
So I know that Xbox isn't their most successful division. Like that's obviously software and cloud for Microsoft, but I I thought that their Xbox division was doing really well.
It's
Like, is
doing
that not
well,
actually a
but
Well,
true statement?
according to
Like, I
the
thought it was.
executives, yeah, it's doing great.
Yeah,
yeah,
like I thought it. So obviously Microsoft gets most of their money from things other than Xbox, which is how they afford shit. But like, I still thought their Xbox division was actually considered like a wild success. And like
it's
even a few years ago, didn't they divert resources from other divisions to their Xbox and gaming division because it was doing so well?
I mean, I think a lot of it probably comes down to that huge Activision acquisition. Like it's, you need return on investment. And I feel like if it's not there or you're just pumping in more money, it's gotta be like, okay, we gotta divert or, make room for I mean, like in my own industry, we in business, like we say where it's like, hey, you need to reduce total on hand inventory because that'll free up money spent to be used elsewhere. So it's like you're still using that product and whatnot, but you need to just reduce your total on hand to this arbitrary mark that they picked, which was I have issues with. But and it's like, okay, that'll help. And this is like seems to be, hey, we want to invest more in these other parts of our business, so we got to have some triage and get rid of aspects of everywhere else, so we can divert that investment into this thing, which we think will have higher revenue uh, for Microsoft as a whole, not just Xbox, kind of thing. So I think that's what it comes to. But
It's just like what a mind fuck.
yeah, and people talk about it too, like Xbox, it's like the Xbox portion of Microsoft is the most public facing and like a big portion of it. Like there's no like someone out there going, yo, here's Windows, check out Windows. Here's like they don't do that anymore. No one's like, hey, look at these. They don't make the PCs, they just make the operating system. But Xbox is like out there. It's the one with the personality and the brand that is most familiar with folks everywhere else. You know what I mean? Like it's weird to have that. It's also like the most public facing, I suppose, of all their stuff, at least outside of business, the business verticals and whatnot. People are like, oh, we got to look at Copilot, we got and all this yada yada yada, Azure Cloud, everything. But it's like the gaming portion is the most public facing one. Uh, so it's like you figure you would want to project that one to be strong, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy though when you're like when they say, oh, we got rid of what was the number? 4%, but that 4% is 9,000 people. It's like it's just yeah.
Yeah, they frame it like, "Oh, it's only 4% of the company," but everybody else is like, "Yeah, that's 9,000 people. You've just ruined 9,000 people's lives."
Yeah, like if
What a
4%
number.
of the population of the globe dies, it's like, oh, 4% is not a lot. It's like 4% of everybody who's
Right.
on the planet is huge.
4% of 7 billion.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man. But yeah, it's like that's why I have a huge love-hate relationship with percentages because it's like they're
Mhm.
not they don't represent the proper value that they should be projecting. But anyways, it's crazy how much that happened this week with them. It was nuts. Especially right before, the holiday, the US holiday anyways. But man. And then but the good news is that hey, Sony felt bad, I guess, because now Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox. So like, yo, you guys don't have anything, so we'll bring Helldivers 2.
That's what Sony was doing. They were like, we'll throw you a bone.
Yeah, we feel bad. So yeah, Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox in August 26th, so right
It's
around the
probably
corner.
great timing because I do feel like the hype for Helldivers has totally died on PlayStation, and this would give it a second life, more money, and potentially also get people more interested once they see it streaming again on Xbox and things like that. It's like
I don't think
perfect
it's
timing for it.
dying. Based on everything I see on Reddit and socials for Helldivers, like it's
Not
still
not that
it's like
Helldivers is diving, just like
it's
the
not in the
attention for it.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those games where like it's if you check its player base, like it's still doing well. People just don't talk about it because there's so many games coming out all the time. It's not going to be in the conversation at all
Yeah.
times.
No, I,
Versus
I don't think
yeah,
Helldivers itself is dying.
yeah, yeah. It'll be great because you'll have crossplay. So people are like, oh, a new batch of recruits coming in to help Super Earth. But hey, it's a good times. they should have enjoy that and have fun. Yeah, it's good to see that. But yeah, other than that, not a whole lot of other news here that's not related. I did see that everything is all related to the speaking of layoffs, so Subnautica 2, their entire leadership team got replaced by Crafton, which is kind of crazy. So Unknown Worlds owner who are owned by Crafton, who did PUBG and whatnot. They had their entire leadership team was gutted, but they didn't say why. They just said, we quote, sought to keep the Unknown Worlds co-founders and original creators of the Subnautica series involved in the game's development, but we wish them all, the best on their next endeavors. And in their place, former Striking Distance CEO Steve Papoutsis, who also worked on Dead Space 2, is joining as the CEO amid the crazy announcement. So it's like, what is happening? What happened
It
there?
I
almost
feel
sounds
like
like
that's a
they
very yeah, these people are making too much money. Let's hire some people that make less money.
I guess, but I feel like Steve Papoutsis has been in the business for a while. Like, I can't imagine he'd be. I don't know.
Oh
Like,
yeah, he's still making more money
yeah,
than anybody else in the studio, but he's making less money than the person that they just fired.
did they say replaced or did they say like laid off or fired?
they just said that it was a shock announcement that the previous leadership, Ted Gill, Charlie Cleveland, and Max McGuire, had been replaced effective immediately. So it's like a Amy Hennig situation. It feels like they're just gone. So it's like either it was not
It
game related, where like Crafton was saying, "Hey, let's push like hypothetically, like they want to push microtransactions." Leadership said no. They said we'll just get rid of them and we can do it. Versus maybe there was some administration stuff. I mean, we've seen this. I'm not saying that this is what it is. I'm gonna make that clear right now. But we've seen stuff like this with people who have, sexual harassment cases brought against them through HR, where they get rid of them immediately and then without saying why, they just get rid of them. So I'm not saying that this happened with all three of these folks, but we have seen that happen before in the past.
so
It's
you're
a
saying
very
it's
like
sexual harassment.
God damn it!
it's not a it's not a PR friendly reason, so they're just like, they're gone. Goodbye.
Yeah,
It
they're just they're gone.
It
it
was
kind of
not
strikes
ethical.
me
Yeah.
it kind of strikes me as like the creative differences reason of like they're getting rid of them or they were replaced because someone was fighting with someone. Like I feel like whenever it's released like that, it's because someone got pissed off at someone else and they're like, fine, we'll just go do this on our own. Like we'll branch out on our own. Fuck you.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like Cleveland and McGuire, they founded the company 24 years ago. Like they're the founders. Like you got rid of the founders.
That's why I'm like,
Um,
I feel like it was creative differences, or either like that, or the founders were like, we're rich enough and successful enough. If you want to do this to our game, we're just going to leave and make a competing game. Like, I lean towards the something happened with creative differences.
and I can't imagine though, at being the co-founders and then who was the other guy? Gil joined as he got promoted to CEO in August 2024. So they're not necessarily directly the creatives, you know what I mean? They're not like the creative director. I'm obviously they have, feedback and whatnot as being heads of the company. But it's not like they got rid of, we got rid of all the creative directors and the creative team and those guys versus we got rid of the leadership at up top. It was like, okay, so at least hopefully from a creative standpoint, there's not a big impact. Like the teams are like, oh, we don't know what direction to go. It's like we had someone who was probably there to begin with who was doing that job already. Now they just report to Steve Bootsis. But it's just crazy. It's like out of nowhere. I'm sure we'll find out about it later, but or Jason Schreier will talk about it or something. I don't know.
It was
But
Jason
definitely
Schreier will
not
release his
a
secret
friendly.
report.
what was that, Zaya?
I was gonna say it was definitely not a friendly situation. It was not
Yeah.
a we're leaving the studio, we want to do some other stuff. Like when other like founders or creative heads leave studios, they're just like, oh, we're thinking about retiring, but we probably actually won't, kind of thing. And it's just like, this was not PR friendly, so we're not gonna talk about it.
Yeah. Uh, speaking of, some stuff that got canceled a while back. So we knew a while ago that People Can Fly had canceled some of their projects. They had that one bit that they were partnered with Square Enix that they, Square had canceled with them called, was it Project Gemini? And then they
Mhm.
had one called Bifrost, which is their own self-published project. And they cancellation led to restructuring of the internal teams and whatnot. This was in, I want to say, a while. I forget when this originally happened, but I guess one of the projects that was canceled was Outriders 2, according to a new a new report, and I was like, oh man,
Oh, that's a
like
bummer. That was actually I liked that game. That was
that.
fun.
That's another game that like it was on PS Plus. I think maybe yeah, it was just straight up PS Plus, and then I think also on Game Pass, where it's like a lot of people played it because it was on those platforms. But yeah, it was like
Wasn't
it was a just purely single player. It wasn't a live service game. They did have an expansion for it later on, but it was a really good game, like a game that definitely like, man, I can't wait to see the #2 version of this, like how they'll expand upon it. Because I had a lot of fun playing it. We played it. I played it with my cousin. Like it was a good time. As least lost in thought.
No, I was like, you said single player, and I was like, that wasn't single
Well,
player.
it multiplayer, but I meant more like, you could play it just straight up single player. It was no, it wasn't an MMO. It wasn't a Destiny situation. It was just like single player campaign that you can play co-op. And then
Yeah,
you had like extra missions you could do, but it was it. Like, cause people thought like, oh, is this another, cause it's back when, everybody's like, every game was live service. I mean, a lot of games are still live service now, but it's like, oh, don't be a live service game. Like, oh, it's not. You can just play it all the way through. There's a story, a campaign, you play it, you're done, yada, yada. Uh, and it was like one of those games. So it's like, people are like, "Oh, dope! I'll play it
yeah.
then." But
No,
yeah, that's
Outriders
fun.
was great. I enjoyed it. I was thinking, like, wasn't that one of the very first PS5 launch titles? That's what I was actually looking up, is when it came out, and it
It,
was a really early PS5 title, which I think helped not like launch, but it was like within the first year PS5 title when
yeah,
there wasn't a ton of competition, which I also think helped it get some attention and traction.
yeah, it came out April 1, 2021. So that April right after launch. So we would have had Returnal in February, and then after Returnal, I guess the big game would have been a third-party game. So Outriders,
Yeah.
because it was on PlayStation Plus, especially. But yeah, so yeah, because when did Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart
It
come out?
I mean, there were other games,
That
but
was
I
June.
don't think
Okay.
there were a ton. Like it was certainly
Yeah, no.
limited.
Yeah, because there was yeah, as far as that was like one of the big games of the new year that
Yeah.
people were looking forward to. Like it was Returnal in February, Outriders, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart wasn't until June. So there's like this window of stuff. It probably would have been like, hey, here's the PS5 version of this game, or the update for the PS5 version if you play like the PS4 version or whatever for this game is out, and yada yada. While we wait in that launch window. It's like, yeah, but it was definitely one of those launch window titles. It also came out on PS4 as well, but yeah. And then the couple of bits of news I did see. It was funny. So Borderlands 4, a lot of people out there who like Borderlands, but they hate Claptrap. So they added a volume slider for Claptrap. So if you wanted, you could just straight up mute Claptrap entirely.
You be
which,
quiet.
which I thought was so funny.
To be
It's like,
fair, he is really fucking annoying.
I don't mind him. I've never had an issue with Claptrap. It's just like sometimes it'd be like, okay, if they talk too much, but being able to adjust his volume, I think is like a good option at least. To like, let's put you at like 80%.
I thought, oh god, there's like dog fight outside. I definitely didn't mind Claptrap in the first game, and I feel like they made him so over the top in 2 and 3 that it was like, Jesus Christ, man, calm down.
Yeah, yeah, it can be a lot sometimes, but yeah, I thought that was funny seeing that article. Like, oh yeah, you can adjust them or just mute them entirely. That was pretty funny. And then the other bit of news this week, which I felt like some people were making a bigger deal out of it than it was just Neil Druckmann saying that he is stepping away from Last of Us Season 3 work to focus on game dev with Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. Because
Mhm.
now that Season 2 has wrapped, before even they get started on Season 3 stuff, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to transition back to doing the game stuff because, he's being pulled in two different directions, and they're probably ramping up development on that. It's like, yeah, that makes total sense. Like
Yeah, I feel like that's
it's
a big nothing burger.
yeah, because like you have the blueprint for what to do for Season 3. It's not like he needs to be there to and do all that stuff. It's like you have it there. I'm sure you've discussed where what tweaks you might do, yada yada. It's like, okay, well, now if you're done, and I'm sure Craig can always just like call him, like, hey, what do you think about this? He'll be they can have like a phone call. He just won't be on set directing his own awesome episode or whatever. Uh,
I feel like in that instance too, I mean, there's always at least one episode in each season so far that's been directed and directly written by him that's kind of like the best episode of the season. But I feel like he's probably already written it and given it to them and been like, hey, this is
Perhaps,
what
yeah.
I want for this episode. It's just like, but it's stuff that was either in the game or is expounding on the game anyway. So it's like, I've written it. This is what I want them to say. And here's the whole screenplay. Just, I trust you to do it.
Mhm.
I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
he could just point to the game and be like, "Here's the screenplay."
Yeah, I already wrote it. Yeah,
Yeah, I already
yeah,
right there.
yeah. We already wrote this. Yeah, yeah. I think it's just people may out because like the divisive reception of the second season, which we knew was coming because of the nature of the game, anyways. Where it's like
Mhm.
if it had done gangbusters, like everybody was happy, then it'd be like people wouldn't care. But because like a lot of you get those people out there are like, oh well, he's doing this because some people didn't like that certain episodes and blah 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 and this and that. It's like no, it's just they're done with the season. Like before they get started, he's got
Things
to move on, man. They
back.
got shit to
Like,
do. Yeah,
yeah.
you got to slowly roll. But yeah, he's doing that. I'm curious if because also Haley Gross also announced that as well, and I'm wondering if she's writing on Intergalactic: The Heritage Prophet with Neil. I'm trying to see here where she posted. Because she was there, which makes sense because she helped write Last of Us Part Two, so it made sense that she would work with Neil and Greg to work on the show. But yeah, she also announced that she'll be doing something else as of these. So I'm wondering, yeah, if she's going to be helping with that game, which would be interesting. Like I was trying to look up here the post, but I can't find it. Anyways, but yeah, other than that, not a whole lot else. Like Xbox was kind of the biggest thing. It was just crazy news because it was like what it was July 2nd, and then that the announcement came out, and then it was like just that whole day, late the rest of that day, just being like people saying they got impacted, and then like July 3rd was like the okay, now we kind of know everybody that was impacted
Mhm.
and whatnot. So it's just like this rolling bit of news, but crazy stuff.
I did see a very funny headline. Mind's Eye Dev CEO blames sabotage and vows to relaunch 2025's worst game to date. This was a very funny article.
That guy, there's like the
He was just
game
like,
just wasn't good,
he's gonna
man.
go on a redemption arc, and he blames internal and external sabotage without actually going into any detail about like what was sabotaged or who did what, of course. But it was a very like, are you crazy?
Yeah, it's I remember
Needy.
that because even before it's like, oh no, we people are gonna judge it well before it's released. There's all this conspiracy about in the reviews as well. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's just if your game wasn't good, man. And I've seen like bits of that CPR segment. I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? I don't know if you've seen it, but it's so bad. I'm like, this is like a PS3. This is a 2006, 2007 era mini game that should have been phased out entirely. But yeah, it was
I
interesting
mean,
stuff.
I'm actually like, I didn't care before. I was just like, oh no, like the poor team is just like trying to work on something, and I feel like maybe the management is just pulling them in too many directions, and it's just like over ambitious stuff like that. Now I'm invested. I'm following this. I've got a little tracker on my RSS feeder that's like, anytime this is in the title, please ping me.
I did see some funny. The hard drive was going off on the Microsoft bit with their articles. Like they had one. It was Joanna Dark forced to take job at Overwatch. I
Yeah.
thought that article was really funny. We went undercover at Microsoft, but got laid off before we could learn anything. I thought was fucking hilarious. Then the for sale Spartan armor, lightly worn, selling to help multi-trillion-dollar company. I thought was really funny. A cosplayer just selling their stuff so they can try to help Microsoft. I thought was hilarious. Yeah, they have some really good,
I like to
really good
believe
articles they turned out.
that's submitted by like people within Microsoft or like have been laid off by Microsoft. It's just like that's their opportunity to say what they want to say and
Mm-hmm.
not get fired for it.
Yeah, use comedy to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Roblox. I love. They had one the other week. It was Roblox Corporation relieved latest scandal didn't involve a pedophile. Like that is fucking good. I was like, oh man. Oh.
It's like ha ha ha.
Did their early
Well,
scandal involve a pedophile?
that's
Now I'm like,
dark. So
what did
yeah,
I miss from Roblox? This is like,
I like. They had one a while ago. I forgot to share it, but it was like off-duty ICE officer spends free time harassing data center travelers in Final Fantasy 14. I was like,
Oh
holy
yeah.
shit.
I saw that one. That was very that went around the 14 subreddit.
Yeah, yeah, they have some really good ones. But yeah, they and what's crazy is like the articles, like I sometimes I'll just if it's like I'll just read the headline and be like, okay, that's really funny. But other times
Mhm.
I go and I read the actual article, especially if it's like I'm like, oh, I want to see what they wrote here, and like they can write some really good stuff. Like the extra satire they have in the written portion of the articles is really good.
I
Like,
always read the ones that are about, like, the layoffs and stuff because they're
yes,
so
yes,
scathing, and it's like, this was written by somebody who was affected by this or is still within the company and was just, like, wrote it out, sent it to hard drive, and was like, You can have this. Please
yeah.
post it."
I love the paragraphs. Our plan for the Microsoft layoff one, it's like our plan was cut short. However, just as soon as we sat down in our cubicles, there's a cacophony of groans and sobbing echoing throughout the building. All the employees began making their way out of the office. Another mass email had been sent announcing more layoffs. The entire division was on the chopping block. A heavy chain and padlock were placed on the door behind us. Unfortunately, all we gained from our investigation was grief and empty pockets.
Mhm.
Like,
And
oh
you're
man.
just like, "I'm gonna sip my tea and read this."
In that way, we can relate to the laid off Microsoft employees who have been cast out into the cold, dark world, all for the sake of Microsoft's bottom line.
It's not wrong. It's
Yeah,
not untrue.
yeah, but
Ugh.
man, but yeah. All right. Well, after all that news, let's go ahead and jump into what we've been playing. Izzy, you weren't here last week, and you were also like busy. There's that one episode where like you didn't play anything. You didn't even the one you didn't join. Like, oh, I haven't even played more altars. I haven't started Death Stranding 2 yet.
It's
Have
true.
you been doing anything
I
since?
have. You're gonna both like the answer, and you're not gonna like the answer. So I did download Death Stranding 2,
But you didn't play it.
but then
You start
somehow
What?
it.
I got distracted into playing the PS5 version of Subnautica. Don't know how.
Okay. Well, Subnautica is a great game, so I
It
won't ding you
that's why I
there.
was like, you're gonna be both upset and you're gonna be happy. But some like I was sitting there one night and I honestly don't know what triggered it because it's not like there was a streamer playing it or anything. And I was like, I should go back and check out the original Subnautica now that they added the base building from Below Zero to it, which I know was like years ago. But I never went back and played like the PS5 version after they did the rendering updates and added the base building. So I've gone back and I've been playing the first Subnautica again, and God, Below Zero is a really good game, but the first Subnautica just hits so differently. Like the sense of like dread and openness in the ocean is just so much more present in Subnautica than Below Zero.
We should, since you have a PC, you should. I think Subnautica might be on sale right now. We should get the multiplayer mod for the first one. Not that we ever have time to play video games
How
together,
does that
but I
even
want to
work?
fantasize about it. It's a mod, so they let it like it works 100%, but also has some bugs. Well, is what I've been seeing. But it came out like a year ago.
No, I mean like you just both exist in the same world, or do you like
That's
have shared base
multiplayer, brother.
building, or okay.
Yeah,
I mean that could be
since
fun. But yeah,
'95, right?
I felt the urge to play it. I was like, this is a familiar game. I kind of want to just dive in. So I've been playing through Subnautica again. I don't. It's been long enough that like I remember the main story beats, but like I don't remember any of the like the crashed pods where you try to find them or like how you find these things. So it's been really fun kind of going through everything again because I forgot how you get from point A to point B, but I remember what point B is. Um, so it's been just enough time to kind of make it feel new again, and it's such a good game. And the rendering update, uh, it feels like they fixed most of the rendering issues and the draw distance issues that PS5 had when they first released the version. So it's been playing really smoothly. It looks great. I like the air bladder changes and like the quality of life changes they brought in from the sequel. I haven't done a ton of the base building yet, just because I haven't opened up like those materials yet. But I do sort of miss the God, what's it called in the sequel? The sea truck. What's the
From
like
the second
train
one.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the sea truck.
yeah. I do sort of miss the sea truck, which is so funny because when I played the sequel, I was like, I miss the original one. The sea truck is too much. But now I like miss having the flexibility of driving that whole truck around. So
Yeah,
it's been
the
good.
submarine is like in the first one. That is the one part I'm like, I never. It's so slow, and okay, let's navigate down to the lava river, and I gotta slowly get down here. Okay, here we go. Okay, pivoting. Oh, now we got the damn slugs. I gotta get them off the dang thing, so I'm not draining the
See,
battery. Like,
I I liked the submarine when I first played it. And then when they shifted to the sea truck, I was like, I don't like how big the sea truck gets and like the lack of flexibility and everything. And it just feels like it's hard to navigate and it just is so clunky. And now I miss all of that and the flexibility it offered. And the fact that like if you didn't want it to be clunky, you would just have less, cars attached to it. it's a good game.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
I love the sense of dread in the first game. Like the
Mhm.
ocean just feels so much more expansive in that game than in Below Zero, and I don't really know why.
Well, it is.
Whether it's like
It's bigger in the first game, but it's more compact. Like the second game is big, but it's more consolidated. Like they got like there is a lot of empty space in the first game, which going back and I'm looking for like, okay, where was that one mineral I need? And then I'm like, "Ah, I gotta go around. Like, there's just these giant, which is great the first time you play it because like, oh my god, look how big the ocean is. Then it's like you're looking for the minor bits of resources, and it's like, gotta go around here, or look, here's the big area over here, yada yada. Like that can get a little annoying. And so in the second one, they just kind of like when I truncate silence in the podcast, like they just truncated empty space to kind of compact it a little more, which I is both has pros and cons. And they also added the upper surface area. So
I yeah, I mean it is a larger ocean, so I definitely get that that's like part of it. There is part of it where it just like the design of it feels like it works better. Maybe it is because there's actually empty space, and I do think empty space it can be frustrating to navigate through from a gameplay perspective, but I do think it adds something to like the dread and the overall tone of the game if you do
mhm.
have to navigate through dark empty water. It
Yeah,
might
yeah.
make it's one of those things like yeah, it could be bad gameplay, but man, it works so well for like the dread feeling.
Yeah, it definitely the first game definitely because you had like you slowly start getting more of the security guys who are looking for you on top of the leviathans, and it's like it's nice to hear like a leviathan roar in the distance. And you're like, uh oh, and then you don't see it yet because you're still traversing the dark or whatever, and like looking for that stuff, and like you hear it, and like oh shit, like that's fun. Or you hear the warp of one of the security guys, you're like, oh no, it's gonna take me out of my. That's why if I replayed on PC, I would want to get the mod to where I can make the increased depth modules for the Seamoth and only use that and not have to worry so much about uh the submarine because I feel like that would be and then whatever tools I'd have to do to not require the prawn because I'm like yeah, okay, there's the kyanite crystals. I'm like that's great, but I wish I could just
The
farm
prawn
those
is
in.
not my favorite.
Yeah, it's like with the thing engine and the drill. It's like okay, but yeah, that's a I'd change and do all the mods to let me farm that stuff just without that thing. I think you can mod the Seamoth to actually have the prawn arm. I think as well. But yeah, I would like to make the prawn just better. Make that my default. Just the quicker maneuverability, and it'd be more fun down in those lower depths to be able to move faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, co-op would be fun. I mean, that's why I look forward to the sequel because there's going to be co-op in that, so that should be a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just been playing that and really enjoying it because it's such a fucking good game.
Yeah, I almost played it the other day, 'cause I was like, "What should I play?" Like, I wasn't in the mood to play anything. I was like, "Maybe just Subnautica, like a relaxing
See?
chill game," but I
That's
didn't.
exactly why I started playing it. I was like, I didn't want to get into Death Stranding at the moment that day, so I was like, what should I play? Subnautica. It's a chill game. It's relaxing. This is the move.
Yeah. What about you, Zai? What are you been playing? Honky Star?
Uh,
Honky tonk.
Honkai, yeah, Honky Donkey Rail. The new update 3.4 that came out, new like story chunk. I played that. That was emotionally devastating.
I saw.
Um, but other than that, oh, I did also use all of my saved up jades to pull this character that I wasn't intending to pull, just because they made him so fucking cool. That's really annoying. But anyway, still good game. Just it's a gotcha game. What can you do? Other than that, I've just been playing Ragnarok still. I'm very attached to this mobile version of Ragnarok now. It's very fun. And I think once I'm done question mark with this, I don't know if I'm gonna do many like in-game things or like uh War of Imperium or anything like that on it. I might actually go back and play original PC Ragnarok. I think I'm just like hyper fixated on it right now. But
Hmm.
other than that, not really much else. Been watching Michael play Death Stranding. We finished it last night,
Oh,
so
nice.
he's just doing like I don't know. He's just going around right now and harassing BTs uh and armored guys, armored
Yeah,
brigands or
yeah,
whatever, and like I guess finishing his roads and repairing stuff and just doing like deliveries to get people to 5 stars. But
yeah.
yeah, as far as like the story and everything, the game itself, we finished it last night. So
Nice. Yeah, I haven't played it past couple days. But I stopped after see I met Hartman, and then that sick person next door for whatever reason. Also, this person
Oh,
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? And then we went back to the ship, and then I did the mission where Elle Fanning's character leaves the ship, and you have to go find her, which is like they were making you walk forever.
Mhm.
Like I'm like, my God. And I'm like, okay, I realize where we're going. I'm like, and then that cutscene though was pretty dope. I was like, damn, pretty
I
strong.
adore her. She's so cool.
Yeah, I was like, this is a really cool cutscene. I like this a lot. Very, very anime. But I was like,
Yeah.
this is awesome. Especially with that, non spoilers with that I call it a power, I guess. I was like,
Her
that's pretty
Doom's
dope.
power or whatever.
Yeah. And then where did I stop? I think I had to I forget where I ended after that. Oh, I met the VTuber. Um delivering pizzas, and then, I was like, "Oh, is this gonna be another Higgs situation? Am I delivering him pizza?" And I was like I was driving me crazy 'cause I thought in the first game you were able to manually rotate packages on your backpack, but I guess you can't. Because I was like, "How do I" was like, "1, why is this pizza box so damn big?" I'm like, "It should be a medium box. What the hell's going on?" And it's like,
It's a
"Oh, because
large pizza.
there's also, like, guns and grenades and shit in it as well."
Yeah.
Um, uh, but I was like but the VTuber, I was like, "Okay, Kojima must really like this VTuber," because, like, what the hell's going on here? But,
I watched an interview where somebody interviewed him and Pecora, or what's her full name? Usada Pecora? Pecora, I think is her full name. Apparently he had watched her play the first Death Stranding and was like, "She's funny. I like her. Put her in the next game." That was it.
I mean, that works, man.
Yeah.
That's how, like, I mean, shit, Craig Mason's like, "Man, I like Last of Us. I wanna make a show about it. Let's talk to Neil." Like,
Yeah.
hey, if you like someone, just go I mean, that's Kojima's just collecting people he likes and putting them in the game, but, uh Uh, yeah, so I met them, and then, like, that introduced those damn underground mine things. It's like, "Oh, these fucking things," and it gives you
Mhm.
that but then when she gives you that AI camo, I was like, "Oh, is this like the Metal Gear Solid 4 camo?" I was like, "No, it's just called that because it helps you not get scanned by those burrowing mines." I'm like, "Oh, okay, never mind." Not quite what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be the Octocam from
I was gonna
MGS4.
say no octo camo in this game.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying the game. A lot of fun. I'm curious, like, when Higgs is gonna show up again? Because like, I thought when I was chasing Elfani's character, like, based on what I remember from the trailers, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is must be, spoilers, we see them in a trail." I'm like, "Maybe this is that bit." It's like, "No, it wasn't." Okay, interesting. And then if they play that "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head" song one more time, I'm gonna unalive myself. Like, I
Bad
was so
news,
tired of that
buddy.
song, man. I like I someone put up, like, a generator outside of a base, and they had that song playing on the generator. I'm like, "I'm deleting this user's thing right now. Get out of here, man." I'm like,
You
"I'm
are
so tired of
blocked.
this song." Yeah, I'm done. I'm over it, man. It's like, I've heard the song too much, and then, like, they're singing it in the ship. I'm like, "Please." It's so weird, sometimes they'll have cutscenes. They do that thing where, they'll have, like, "Sam, you should come back and rest on the DHV Magellan." They gotta give it by its full name. And then also, "So and so's been talking more." And you go in, it's like a tiny cutscene, and then you go to bed. I'm like, "Can I not just go to bed and then wake up and then have the cutscene and then go do whatever?" Like, they have, like, weird decisions on how the length of the cutscene you're getting, and then, where it is. Like, this could have been just in passing, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. Building the rail is really cool. I also didn't realize you could zip line on the rail. I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Mhm.
And I just got you just get the zip lines after you go to I forget who it was, like, around Hartman, you get the zip line right before him, and I'm like, "Oh, the zip lines, hell yeah, I love zip lines, man." And, like, I keep seeing that snowy mountain in the distance, I'm like, "I can't wait to go there." I hope there's people there like there was in the snowy section of Mountain Knot City, but 'cause I'm gonna put zip lines all over that son of a bitch. But yeah, the pizza delivery I tried to make the one pizza delivery, the first one that was an optional one, but I, like, went through a heavy BT area, and then I accidentally pulled out a gun from my backpack that I only bought to help level out so the pizza would be flat, and then as soon as I pulled it out, my stuff auto arranged in such a way that the pizza went down. I was like, "No." I was like I have a clip of it, I haven't posted it, but I was like, I as soon as I did it, I instant regret. I was like, "God damn
You're
it."
you're making me feel crazy. It's like the Mandela effect. I feel like you could place the pizza wherever you wanted when you were in Death Stranding 1, and that was the whole thing
Yeah,
of
you
like
could.
people would put it on their side. So you can't do that anymore?
It's like You put it wherever you want, but what I mean is, like, if you have, like, let's say, one item on your backpack, you can't just lay it flat, like, rotate it. It's always vertical, but if you have 4 medium-size crates, then that puts the top part of it is flat, and then everything else is flat on top of that. So in order to have the pizza flat, I have to have 4 medium parcels or 8 small parcels in my backpack, so then it's level. Then I can put the big box of pizza on top of my backpack flat. So the box is too big to where it can't go onto your, like, you can, like, small and I think maybe medium or small boxes, at least you can pick where on your suit you can put them, right? Like all your different stuff. But what I mean is, like, I can't manually, if I have 4 things in my backpack, I can't, like, drag one, like, oh, if I drag this up, then it changes position. Like, it's just it's the order in which you put them on your backpack that they go in. So I had to, like, craft things in order to make a flat surface for the pizza box.
God, you really are making me feel like I'm crazy. I'm like, it wasn't like that in 1, was it? Maybe it
No,
was.
it wasn't. No, you could choose to where to put things in if like rotate them, basically.
That's what I thought, but everybody kept saying, like, anytime I look it up, it was like, no. I'm like, I gotta boot it up and just
I know,
double
I feel
check.
like I'm losing my mind. I feel like that absolutely was a thing in 1 because I don't remember ever thinking like, "Oh, I need to get a bunch of packages in order to, like, keep this pizza box flat." I don't
I
remember
think
ever
it's
having to get, like, other things to.
I think it's only because this isn't it's an extra large, or no, it's a large box. I think because it's a box you can't. But if it was a medium or small parcel, maybe I can on those. But there's no option for the big box to do it that way. Like, it's just it's a
Yeah,
big box.
I just
It
don't
won't let me
remember that actually being a problem in the first game.
But the first game, the pizzas weren't a large box, they were a medium-sized one, so it's like, if they were, that makes more sense because you can kinda pick what you wanna do, and maybe it was specific to that box or something, like, in that portion of the game, 'cause you never do it anywhere else, so it's like, if that function does truly exist for other parcels, you never use it, you just auto-arrange everything, except the pizza delivery, then you wanna make sure it's flat, but I think it could be because of the size or maybe the speciality of the box. So it's like, hey, we'll add this option just for this one parcel because there's no need to do it for anything else. But anyways, I can't. Yeah, you can't do it for this one. Like, I can't just. It's. I have to have stuff there because of the size of the container. I'll have to see if I don't know if the other person's delivered pizza boxes the same way, but I know the one was big because it had all the extra stuff for the VTuber. But anyways, that's where I stopped, was right around there. So I got to go back in and continue. And it's so funny, like, oh, you got to go to the pizza chef and to make people in this area, side with the linking up. They love pizza. People love pizza. You got to give them pizza, Sam. So get the pizza chef online. I'm like, okay, Kojima loves pizza. I ain't ever seen it on socials, but he loves pizza. Like, all right. But yeah, other than that, just gotta
How
get
are
back to
you
that.
how are you liking Death Stranding compared to the first one? If you haven't played it in a bit, is it because it's not clicking for you, or are you still enjoying it a lot?
No, I was just in, like, a place where, like, didn't really want to play much of anything. It was like I was kind of, like, exhausted. I'm like, I don't want to
Have you
go.
thought about playing Subnautica?
I said I did for a bit.
Subnautica?
I did try. I saw Black Mesa Definitive Edition, which is like the remake of one. A fan remake was on sale for like $1.99. I picked that up and, like, played like 40 minutes of that the other day. But, like, I didn't want to play anything that had, like, I had to be, like, not necessarily stressful, but, like, I gotta dodge the BTS. I gotta do this. Like, I haven't even streamed, like, the past couple nights either. Like, I just haven't been doing much of anything. I watched a movie. I watched Ballerina, so I've been, like, watching some stuff. I've watched Severance. I'm catching up on shows and watching React stuff. I'm just doing other things instead of playing video games. But yeah, I'm gonna go back in hopefully tonight. Get back in Death Stranding, play some more of that. And then, yeah, play I gotta get back to the Ultra at some point. But yeah, I do want to play more Death Stranding. Because it was a good time. Playing some Balatro on my phone, a little bit every now and then. But yeah. Putting together Warhammer as well. Been doing that. Just put together a bunch of rest of my Gene Stealers. I picked up a Morphin Vol, who's a Sister of Battle leader characters, like, really cool detailed model. Put that together. I got to prime it, uh, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just doing that. Yeah, gotta get back to playing video games.
It's hard, man, right? Video games.
Yeah, gotta find that
It's
time
the
because
hard
I, like,
life.
it's like Death Stranding's one of those games I can't play with the kid sit with me because I'm like, okay, I gotta, like, really focus and, like, not drop my packages and all that
That
stuff. But
was that was my dilemma for why I hadn't started it yet, is because it's like it's not a game where you can actually, like, drop and play. It's like you need to focus on it at the start when you're playing it.
yeah, I
When
do like that 2 just gets into it. Like, there's no, you know,
Mhm.
10 hours of cutscenes and one delivery in between them. Like in the first game, because they got to build the world and tell you everything. It's like you start, the prologue is pretty quick, and then it's like it keeps going. There are some decent cutscenes, but not nearly as much as it was in the second one because you already know everything. And the world's just gorgeous, and I do really enjoy playing it. I had like a sneaking mission. I had to take out a bunch of explosives from these brigands because they kept like blowing stuff up, and then I like sneak in, take them out. That was fun. I'm like Solid Snake, taking everybody out. They have a lot of extra weapons in this one, which is interesting, which is great for BTs. I'm like, oh, I got more options now. And then I like the grenades are no longer in just a box that dispenses the grenades. Like you have grenade pouches, and you can put more grenade pouches on the back of your backpack, so you don't have to. They don't take up a big old physical space.
That
I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
was the thing in the first one, grenade pouches.
I don't know if they had proper pouches, but they like dispense out of the box. You might have had like one.
I thought you had like
utility
one
spot.
grenade pouch that you could upgrade, and then I thought you could put extras like strapped to you if the one wasn't like if your one pouch wasn't enough. Am I making that up?
You had a utility pouch, and I think it could have been in there because I know like the other times they just if you have like if you strap
Yeah.
a box of grenades on your like Sam's shoulder, they dispense out of the bottom like as like soda cans. Like it's like, oh, grab a grenade, grab a grenade, grab a
Perfect.
grenade. But this is like, okay, you can have more, you can put more stuff on your backpack. Like there's some anti-grav stuff to make loads lighter. You can put extra. I'm not sure how much more ammo I get from the ammo capacity boost I put on there. They also have some interesting like perk system you can do, which like you upgrade these points, you can do stuff like, oh, your scans are longer or this and that. Like all these interesting little things that aren't like game changing, but they're like micro buffs depending on how you play, and you can reallocate them anytime you want. Like that's an interesting addition. So they do some interesting stuff. And like I said, the increase in weapons, the shotgun's real good. I like the shotgun a lot. That shit's strong. That one boss fight, the second boss fight you have, I use the shotgun. I'm like, God damn, this gun is. Shotguns are back on the table, boys. There's a lot of games like shotguns don't feel good, and then it's like shotguns back in like PS2 era, like they used to be a powerhouse. And then for a while there, it's like shotguns aren't good anymore. But yeah, shotgun's real good in the game. But yeah, it's every time you log in, just seeing how many people use my stuff, or it's like, oh, so and so followed your trodden path. It's like, oh, I love like seeing people that took the path I did, and all the likes I get from everybody using my stuff. It's just so fun. But yeah, rebuilding the rails, great. I love rebuilding the rail. But yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can wrap it up there. We have much else to go around the other notes. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you, Zab.
Yep.
We'll see you all next time.
Later.
Bye.